Hey everyone, it's Alex, and welcome to the Marvel Snap Decks of the Week, the weekly series where I showcase the top 10 best decks in Marvel Snap. And if you'd like to support the content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already. It helps sincerely with the YouTube algorithm. With that being said, as always, with the start of a new season, we're doing things a little differently today because, well, we're ranking things approximately by the cube rate and also taking into consideration the win rate. So if things have like really high cube rates but low win rates, they'll fall into like the middle range of the decks of the week. If they have really solid cube rates and really high win rates, then it pushes up. I'm kind of trying to take both into consideration here because, well, we're all tracking our way towards infinite. Some of you guys are already infinite already. That's cool. But basically, we want to look at the ranking up process and just be aware that the stats we're talking about do have some bot inflation because we're using untapped based statistics since the release of the new season, but from ranks 70 to 100. So there is some bot inflation there. With that being said, let's get started with deck number 10, which also is the budget deck of the week as well, which is going to be C2, 58% win rate and a very strong cube rate of 0.86. This is the budget version of the decks of the week as well, because if you don't have Lasher or Red Guardian, there's a number of 2-power cards that you can incorporate. Very popular right now actually is Echo, which makes the C2 versions currently, but this version of the deck does perform better than the Echo version, but Echo is an option for you if you're missing a card, and even things like Iceman can go in as well. So you do have a lot of options at that 2-power, but honestly, this is a cube winning deck. One of the absolute cube winners here is going to be Shadow King. Shadow King is an absolute banger, and if you're someone who's ranking up, and particularly in like the mid-range of MMRs, people play without like any consideration of Shadow King, and Shadow King absolutely claps cheeks. If you don't have Lasher, I wouldn't suggest you chase Lasher from like a token perspective, but he is really good in C2, like remarkably good in C2 and in Nomura decks for that matter. And I will tell you that Nico Minoru is the only real Series 5 that I think is worth getting no matter what. Like if you're the kind of player that like has a limited supply of tokens, which is all players, Nico represents an excellent purchase to round out your collection. So anyway, C2 does represent an absolutely phenomenal choice right now. And again, if you're missing Lasher, Nico, or Red Guardian, things like Echo and Iceman are great options to kind of fill in there. And that's number 10. Going to number 9, it's going to be a Silver Surfer deck running a 60% win rate and a 0.86 cube rate. So again, similar cube rate, higher win rate. And this one here is going to be the kind of like buff Surfer we've been seeing a little bit. Now, buff decks are actually really popular right now, and this is actually not even the last buff deck we'll be talking about today. There's a slightly different variation that we're going to be discussing. But this is a pure Surfer list that does run Sebastian Shaw, Brood, and of course Human Torch for stats, which is a great Surfer card, especially with the order by which Surfer buffs and then the location fills. And that end of turn proc for the Silver Surfer. The deck is phenomenally well balanced. It performs exceptionally well because it has tech along the lines of Shang-Chi, which is often discounted by Mr. Fantastic or Surge, which allows you to play something like Surfer and Shang-Chi on turn 6. Moreover, you get a lot of value from Zabu here because you have heavy hitters in either Shang-Chi, Galacta, or Gwenpool, all of which are phenomenal cards to play on turn 3. And you have closers like the Brood and, of course, the Human Torch, Fantastic Four, First Steps, Sebastian Shaw, and Surfer. Red Guardian represents fantastic tech and ironically smokes cards like Mr. Fantastic and Surge relatively early and on curve. So a great option for you as a catch-all for a tech card. So anyways, Surfer coming in with a phenomenal cube rate and win rate right now. And it's funny that I think that we're kind of not, I'm not going to say we're sleeping on because it's been so good for so long, but don't sleep on the Fenris version of Surfer either. And I'm sure that'll creep up in a top 10 within the next couple weeks here. As we go to number 8, and once again, it is big buffs. I did mention that we were going to be talking about Fenris. Well, I talked about Fenris, but Fenris Surfer. This is not Fenris Surfer. This is another big buff style deck. This is just a different variation, and it's doing very well at a 60% win rate and a 0.95 cube rate. This particular deck is running the Fenris alongside the Shang-Chi. You have the Gladiator, of course, and Killmonger in particular is really good. If you're getting really sick of this end of turn meta, and we'll be talking about one of the decks, I believe it's number 2, where like you're getting like all these sunspots and like, you're ending the turn over and over again with Invisible Woman. If you're kind of getting sick of that, those decks aren't running tech. Like they're not running tech against the Killmongers and etc. So this deck does perform very well into it because not only are you getting a little bit of that big buff energy, you're getting to use Fenris alongside a Killmonger, wiping out their game plan and having a very significant impact on their board state. And so big buffs is honestly a fantastic way to play Snap right now. And we just showed you 2 decks back to back with a similar approach to the deck building, but a little bit of a different game plan. Coming in at number 7, it's Classic Bullseye. I mean, this deck has been tried, tested, and true, and I absolutely love it. Well, I am the creator of this list, so I am, of course, going to love it. And I will tell you that for me, it's been great seeing how this particular list has definitely kind of surpassed expectations. Even though Bullseye got nerfed, it's still continuing to be a very strong meta contender at all stages, regardless of what new cards are coming out, regardless of the power creep that's happening. This deck has been extremely consistent since Bullseye's release, and I love it. I don't know what to say other than I love it. And one of the absolute winners in this deck, for those that have not tried it yet, if you're thinking about cutting Meek, don't cut Meek. I'm telling you, Meek gets up in like insane powers. Frigga's fantastic as well. If you don't have Frigga, by the way, you can cut Frigga and you can add in Arnim Zola, and the advantage to Arnim Zola is you can play Arnim Zola on top of the Dokken. You'll split the Dokken, which will create multiple shards. You'll have 3 shards in your hand, and then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to then bullseye those shards, while also like doubling the double of the Dokken, right? So you're getting a lot of power from Dokken getting split, but also the bullseye activation will hit all those shards in your hand, debuffing and of course juicing Dokken to absolutely massive levels. The deck is phenomenal. It doesn't surprise me it's still running a 60% win rate at nearly a full cube rate. Again, bot inflated, but it does perform exceptionally well against players. Even if you're someone who plays Conquest, like this is a great Conquest deck as well. But long story short, Bullseye continues to be an absolute standout in the meta. And we go to number 6, and it might surprise you that this deck is as low as it is, because it's usually one of the absolute top performers. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still running a 1.01% cube rate, Mr. Negative, but it's the 58% win rate that kind of brought it down a bit, because we have some absolute banger decks right now that are legitimately running into the mid-60s. Of course, bot inflated, but still this has bots too, and it's running a 58% win rate. I think one of the challenges here is that when you're playing in a negative deck, it's hard to get cube equity against players. Like, you're generally snapping on turn 2 when you have some sort of ability to get Mr. Negative down on turn 3. That's usually your snap condition. And obviously Jane Foster's an absolute clap. Players that stay against Jane Foster turn 6 are crazy. Kind of like I did in one of my recent videos and somehow 8-cubed a guy. That was phenomenal. That was actually a Legion win for those of you guys that watched that video. Legion Vormir blew up their Iron Man, all that stuff. Oh, it was so good. But it's really hard to get those pop-offs, right? Like, it's hard to go against this deck on turn 6 or 7. But anyways, yeah, Mr. Negative continues to be an absolutely fantastic choice, and it tends to have good bot equity because what happens is you're definitely losing 2 locations, especially with that Mr. Negative coming down going into turn 4 or 5, where bots tend to snap. The bots seem like they're getting a little better. I'll be honest with you, like they definitely amped up the bots over the last couple of months, and that's what I think that brought this deck down a little bit in terms of its viability. Still solid, will still beat players. You're often 2 cubing players, like as they realize you're going to get their negative pull and they just can't compete with you. But in terms of bots, it's harder to farm them for 8 because they seem like they got a little more intelligent over the last little bit. Going to number 5. It's going to be a new version of Tribunal. Now, Tribunal has been one that I've talked about a couple times. I even discussed it as a budget deck. That was almost a month ago now, but I think that it's definitely worth considering as a budget deck player. But this particular version, of course, is running the recently buffed Jennifer Kale, which allows you to sneak out your onslaughts early, stuff like that. I really do like the inclusion of Blink here. I think Blink is a lot of fun. It gets out, you use something like a magic, you blink it out, you're getting something chonkier. Even if your Tribunal just comes down, that's great. Sarah's an absolute win as well. I like Prodigy too, and in testing this deck, being able to combo Prodigy alongside Iron Man. Remember, you're just looking for like extremely vertical power. You could also do something along the lines of like Onslaught, Prodigy, Iron Man. Because if you get the Onslaught and you double the double, it's like the way the math works, you actually pop off pretty damn hard. But anyways, long story short, there's a lot of opportunities to put like immense power on the board with this particular combination. And I think that Prodigy is actually a really solid inclusion in this list for that reason. And so yeah, I think that it's a pretty good list if you're looking to make some magic happen. It does have some expensive components. Like, this is there are budget friendly versions of Tribunal. This is definitely not it, alongside Prodigy, Luna, Snow, the new Mr. Fantastic, Surge, Jennifer. Like, there's a lot of new cards here. But it's about time that Living Tribunal saw a little bit of a refresh, because it had been a very consistent type of archetype for a long time. So anyways, I want to showcase to you because I love seeing some Tribunal action here, and it is obviously susceptible to Enchantress. Just be very aware of that. If you're going into turn 6 and your Tribunal's down and they snap on you or something like that, it's because they have the answer, right? If they're snapping into you knowing that you're playing Tribunal, especially if you have initiative going into turn 6 or whatever, like, or 7, like, you're going to get your cheeks slapped. Also be aware, Merlin, while not as popular as he was during the season, will destroy magic-based decks. So just be very cognizant of Merlin, who could destroy your Limbo. And then that takes us to number 4. And honestly, this is seeing almost no play, but I want to just highlight that Sauron is running a 66% win rate right now. Bot inflated, of course, but also a 0.89 cube rate. This deck's doing really well. It also features Enchantress, who counters a lot of the decks I've already talked about today and is excellent tech overall and is a natural inclusion in a deck like this. So anyways, I just want to showcase this deck because I think it's kind of fallen out of the meta, right? It's just fallen out of everyone's mindset, but it's an absolute cheat clapper, man. Sauron's legit. Now, of course, it has seen an infusion of some more expensive pieces. You do have Surtur, which obviously was a Season Pass card. You got Starbrand, you got Ares. But everything else, like if you have those, like it's relatively inexpensive to build. Ah, man, I almost forgot that. Okay, the new version has Surge too. All right, it got a little more expensive over the last couple of months. Okay, my bad. But anyway, Sauron still represents a very good shell in the event you're looking to clap some cheeks and take a couple people by surprise, because a lot of people aren't thinking about Sauron. Now we're into the top 3, and by golly, am I surprised? By golly, what an old man thing to say. But I will tell you that it was so surprising to see that Redshift Agatha is actually running a 66% win rate right now and a 0.91 cube rate. That is absolutely astronomical. And of course, it's because of Redshift. Redshift single-handedly bringing this card back. This whole archetype has just been completely rejuvenated thanks to Redshift. And this particular version is running the likes of Negasonic, which I love. The amount of disruption in this particular shell is so great. You got the Fenris Negasonic edition too. You got the Black Bolt of Stature. What a great list this is. And it doesn't surprise me it's doing as well as it is. I honestly might become an Agatha main. Like, I know the only thing that bothers me is because, like, obviously she snags all the boosters all the time. There's a couple things happening there. One, Agatha absorbs people's power, so it actually makes sense that she steals the boosters from everybody. Like I mean, lore wise, it's kind of fascinating. But the other thing was, and I know a couple people have commented about this, like, oh, it sucks that Agatha's stealing boosters. I'm pretty sure Agatha taking the boosters is also like a callback to a long time ago, like in alpha, when I think one of the members of the development team figured out a way to exploit progress using Agatha, probably just like Agatha bot farming or something like that, but some sort of way to like get tons of boosters for tons of people, then like progress super fast through the collection levels and stuff like that. And that's why Agatha as an automated card was changed the way she was. But now Agatha's not fully automated, right? So it's a little different. So I wonder if they get rid of that. I'm going to say, secondary, you probably should get rid of that because it is a little bit of an unfortunate side effect of Agatha, and Agatha is not what it used to be. You finally have an actual Agatha card being played. Agatha deck, unironically, like, let other people get boosters. Like, what are we doing here, right? I mean, am I really talking about boosters? Are we getting excited about boosters right now? One of the most, I don't want to say useless things that we have, but just get them out of the collection track or so. I don't know. Boosters, that's a complicated discussion for another day. But what's not complicated is how popular this deck is. Oh my gosh, I blame Regis. But anyways, Invisible end of turn running a 63% win rate and 0.95 cube rate. This deck is all over the place. In terms of meta dominance, this is getting very, very popular. I'm seeing a lot of versions not running the Prodigy because I think a lot of people don't want to invest in Prodigy. But Prodigy really does make this deck better, especially obviously, getting that Invisible win multi-proc like is pretty nuts. Like, there's so many ways that you can utilize Prodigy, but it's usually for that Invisible Woman. But what you're going to see here is a deck that honestly has tremendous power output on turn 6. It has very little weaknesses, and one of the primary weaknesses is going to be getting Skillmongered, right? Like, if someone plays that Killmonger down, wipes out your sunspots, that's going to be particularly powerful. There's another version of this deck, which is currently not performing as well as this one. It has Thena in it, so it's leaning in the Havoc-Thena combinations as well. That's performing good too, so you might see that on the ladder. And that's why you're seeing some tech against this particular shell. It's very popular at High Infinite in particular. It's doing really well, and it shouldn't surprise anyone because it has a bunch of OP power crept cards in it that were released last season, right? Which I would be surprised if they do not start nerfing. I said that last week. They made their money. Now the nerf hammer is going to come out for some of these cards that have been selling because I don't know, man. I think Invisible Woman First Steps has actually been clapping cheeks. It has been remarkable, and it's not necessarily even in the Doom 2099 shells. It's in these end of turn shells where it's clapping cheeks. Something's got to be done. And that's going to bring us to our number 1 deck of the week. And a reminder to hit that like button if you haven't already. Because, guys, I couldn't believe it. It's Galactus First Steps hitting number 1 on the list. Listen, to 64% win rate, a full cube rate. This is phenomenal. And you know what? It's a fantastic list. I got to tell you, it's great. And I love the way it's designed. And I actually tried to do something similar to this on my original video. I just didn't quite dive in enough on the Fenris side. I did have the Quicksilver Wiccan side of the Galactus First Steps, and I even had a Mercury Cannonball combination as well. But here's the thing, this deck is honestly just beautiful. It's beautiful because it's doing everything it needs to do right now. It has the Red Guardian tech. It has the destroy lines of the Mercury Cannonball. It has the Shang-Chi. It does not have Killmonger. I think, honestly, you could consider putting Killmonger in here instead of something like a Merlin. Like, if you don't have Merlin, you can put Killmonger in. I think that's absolutely fine. I will tell you, though, that one of the benefits of this particular deck is it has a very strong curve. And even the likes of Negasonic, who tends to feed Fenris Wolf, like, if your Mr. Fantastic or your Quicksilver is your Herald, that Negasonic is going to trade something. You know what I mean? It trades something, and if they don't trade into it, well, then you're just taking up your Galactus Fantastic Four first steps. The deck is beautiful, and I think this is what I said on my Galactus kind of first steps video. I was like, you know what? It didn't impress me on day one, but like, we're still cooking. It's still day one. Give it time, because like the numbers get huge. It gets to immense power. And yeah, at the end of the day with Marvel Snap, you win games by just slamming down big cards. And with Wiccan, you can get him down on turn 5. And then you have turn 6 where you can dedicate some Cannonball shenanigans or other things alongside Shang-Chi with the Fenris, right? So there's definitely options. So it doesn't surprise me that Galactus has performed better towards the end of the week, but it does surprise me that he came in at number 1 according to Untapped. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you on that next one.